Hello, KetoCon beauties. I am Anna Vocino. I am the author of Eat Happy and Eat Happy 2, gluten-free, grain-free, low-carb recipes for a joyful life. I am a recipe writer. I write low-carb recipes. I write keto recipes. I write real food recipes. And today I'm going to demo some stuff for you virtually because we couldn't all get together in Austin, which is a huge bummer, but why not do it this way? And yes, that's me when someone else does my hair and makeup. And this is me doing my own quarantine hair and makeup. So deal with it. By the way, I think this is the first time I've put on makeup in about, I don't know, 2 months. And it felt very strange that that's a ritual that women perform every day, including myself. Anyway, today I'm going to make you guys something that I think is a fun and easy dish. It can be a winter dish or a summer dish, but a weeknight dish. I want stuff to be easy for my audience to make. You guys who know me know that I try to make stuff, I try to break it down into steps, make stuff easy using as real ingredients as possible. And today I'm going to do salmon puttanesca. There you go. It's in my second cookbook, Eat Happy 2. And I mean, I know how to make the recipe, but I just want to show you when it's professionally photographed, when I'm using my fancy Canon camera. Just want to show off my skills. Anyway, okay, let's get started. The first thing we want to do, because what we're going to do is we're going to make a red sauce and we're going to make salmon, two separate components. Then you put them together in the dish. It's really hearty. It's really filling. And you don't feel like you've broken the carb bank with the tomato sauce because you're adding in olives, you're adding in olive oil, you're putting in a lot of salty flavors. Puttanesca, I'm not going to go into the definition of that in Italian because this is a family-friendly show. But it's a saltier red sauce is what it is. And over salmon, it's delightful. And salmon, as we know, we want as high fat meats as possible. And salmon is very high fat meat. Now, I have already preheated my oven to 350. And what I have here are 4 delightful salmon fillets cut for me by the butcher. I prefer that you get wild caught salmon. However, I always say this, you have to use what's economically available and available at the grocery store because we can't all have access to a fancy Whole Foods with the wild caught and the grass fed and all the things. I do encourage that if you're able to get it and afford it, wonderful. This is case in point. We've got a king salmon fillet farmed because wild caught was not available at my grocery store. So there you have it. I bought 4 fillets. And the fillet part is actually a really easy prep. We're just gonna lay these out. Oh, these are gorgeous. We're gonna lay these out. Let's see. These are really beautiful. Little. By the way, I have washed my hands. Oh wait, hold on. I forgot a step already. Give me a sec. Here we go. Let's oil this foil-lined sheet. And I do that for easy cleanup at the end. You don't have to do that. You can use parchment paper. You can use whatever. This is my new house, by the way. Welcome to my new house. It has been under construction for months. We're still not done. We still have months of construction, but we got this part done so we could film it and pretend like I live in a fully done house. I don't. This foil is left by the previous owner, so why not use it up? I appreciate that very much. I usually like to use nonstick foil for pretty much anything that I bake. This is regular foil, so we're gonna do extra olive oil to make sure that that salmon skin doesn't stick. This is my favorite Villa Capelli olive oil. We're just drizzling a little, can't speak, drizzling that like that. And I even do a little, spread it around. If you want to use olive oil spray, you can. If you want to use other kinds of oil, coconut oil, avocado oil, you're welcome to. I just think olive oil goes perfectly because this is an Italian dish. And I love olive oil. So now I can lay my beautiful salmon fillets along here. Very gorgeous. I also like to, when I'm laying stuff out, evenly kind of space it. Now I feel little pin bones in there. When you touch it, you can feel little bones. You want to pull those out because you do not want your people eating your, there it goes, eating your food and choking on fish bones. Am I right? No, you don't want that. Great, that's beautiful. Now this guy does not have a lot of skin on the bottom. I'm spacing this out evenly, like I said, so that it kind of cooks evenly in the pan. Tip, hold on, let me wash. Now, here's the deal. When you have wild caught salmon or any wild caught fish, it is a little bit lower in the fat content. And so it's going to cook faster. The farmed has higher fat. So you just want to, if you're using wild caught, generally too, they're thinner fillets. You just want to keep an eye on it when it's cooking. And if you like your salmon medium, meaning it's a little bit raw in the middle, you really want to keep an eye on it. So this is very easy. I got my Redmond real salt, and I just salt the tarnation out of it. I love salt. I love salt. That's how I know, by the way, I've ever had a cold, because I love salt so much, and then I've over salted because I've lost my sense of smell and taste. But salt and pepper, a whole bunch. I'm gonna do some extra olive oil. It's very simple. You're not like overthinking this. If you want to, you can sprinkle some onion and garlic powder on there, but I'm not going to. I just drizzle extra olive oil, salt and pepper. Lovely. We want to get this started. So putting this in the oven at 350, already preheated. And then I'm supposed to have a timer, but I don't have a timer because this is a brand new kitchen. So we're just gonna use our brains. You know, women, we have an internal clock, right? Like we can just figure this out. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So now, actually, you know what I'm gonna do? Let's do some asparagus first. I've been in the mood for asparagus. Asparagus is a spring vegetable. So it's ideal to eat it in the spring, which is right now that we're filming this. It's going to come out in time for when asparagus season is going on. Now here's my tip with asparagus, and I'm just going to roast this. This is not a particular recipe. This is just a super easy weeknight thing. Let me digress by saying, if you are at the grocery store and you have a basic list of things that you buy, some things that I like to buy are chicken thighs, whether it's bone-in, skin-on, or boneless, skinless, which is often, honestly, what's available at a grocery store. They don't often have the full fat version. Chicken thighs, steaks. I prefer ribeye, but I'll buy whatever's there. Denver steak, New York filet. I don't buy as often because it is very expensive, and it's not my favorite cut of meat. I buy flank steak. I buy skirt steak and make carne asada. I buy pork. I have a giant pork shoulder in there. I'm going to make a carnitas tomorrow. That's in my first book. And then I buy leafy green, cruciferous, and then things like asparagus and green beans. And I have them on hand, or zucchini too is another one. You could pretty much guarantee that you'll get a green vegetable into your body if you just have those on hand. And this is a very simple preparation to make. And here's the thing that people get kind of freaked out about asparagus, because they'll wash it. These are washed, but they're not cut on the bottom. So people get freaked out because they start to eat it. And when you get down to about here on an asparagus, it feels like you're like, you can't, because it's too fibrous. So a really easy trick that I learned when I worked for a catering company when I was 22 years old is you kind of get the natural break point in the asparagus. You'll feel it'll just that's not it. You'll just feel it start to naturally break, and they actually wind up being quite shorter. Now, if you want to have fancier ends and you don't want to break them, so you don't have anything, you can certainly cut them. But I feel like I already broke that one, and then I broke it again. So we're going to break some asparagus here. And asparagus is one of those things that with just lemon, olive oil, salt, and pepper, you're done. Like you're so done. And if you want to throw on some pine nuts, or you want to throw on some manchego cheese or any kind of cheese, Parmesan, if you're able to tolerate dairy. I feel like a lot of you guys can have dairy, and I'm perfectly jealous of you because I cannot tolerate dairy anymore. When I first started keto, I was pounding that dairy. It was just helping me get by. And then I got sick, and I had to do blood tests and found out I wasn't tolerating it. And I know that actually is a natural evolution for a lot of people who, when you give up sugars and grains, you then can kind of narrow down, like if any other food makes you ill. So for me, it was dairy, or if it's preventing weight loss. A lot of people figure out they can't have dairy because they prevented weight loss. It was preventing their weight loss. Okay, so look at this. This is gorgeous. We have a little tray of asparagus, and you can tell when they're in season too. At least in California, they get to be really thin and tender. And I love also the bigger asparagus because I do prosciutto wrapped That's another way to prepare it that's really easy. This is going to seem like it's so simple, and it is, but what I want is for you guys to feel empowered on the weeknight to not call for takeout and just cook your food at home. If you can do stuff on the stovetop and then the oven and get it all done within 20 to 30 minutes, you're going to then eat at home, and then you're going to feel so much better than having indulged, where's my salt? Than having indulged in the takeout that might have the, you know, you might be able to stick to keto, or let's say that they put the fries on. You told them, I want a side salad, but they put the fries in anyway. And then you're like, oh, I gotta eat that fry. And then you eat it. And then you're like, oh, I gotta eat another fry. And then you eat like 10 fries or 20 fries or the whole thing of fries. And you're like, damn it. Now it's 3 days, 3 days of recovery get back into dietary ketosis. Anyway, I digress. We just did olive oil. We just did salt and pepper on that. And I'm going to grab, because I have them for pretty decorations, but they are very real, lemon. That's another thing I always buy, lemons, limes. Oh, at my website at annavocino.com, I have the Eat Happy shopping list, and it's a PDF, and I put everything that I like to keep as my perishables and my pantry staples on hand, like to stock your kitchen, and it has little check boxes and stuff. And then a podcast listener of mine, God bless him, turned it into an Excel document. I don't know how to use Excel. I don't know how to do that. It was genius. To me, that guy is a genius. So I posted it. I tagged him, Sean, I think his name is. I'm going to slice these lemons rather thinly. Now, these are Eureka lemons, so they're going to be very seedy. They have a lot of seeds. So you can kind of just, let's see. I'm slicing pretty much most of the meat of the lemon. I know that we're in a weird camera angle thing. One day I'm going to configure this whole thing with an overhead camera, and we're going to do the whole thing. But for today, we got one shot straight on. So you'll see there's a little seed in that guy. So I'm going to just pick it out. You don't want people to accidentally eat bones and seeds. It's just nicer on the end result. Oop, there's 2 seeds in that guy. Bye, seeds. Okay. I have to rinse my fingers off because that acid from that lemon was eating into my fingers. I didn't want that. Okay, so I'm going to put this in the oven also at 350, right below the salmon, and it should take about the same amount of time. And again, if you wanted to put pine nuts or any kind of roasted nut on there, I would put them in the last 5 to 7 minutes of roasting it, because you don't want to burn your nuts. Ooh, that salmon's already cooking up nicely. That's wonderful. Okay, moving this out the way. Puttanesca sauce. At the base of a puttanesca sauce, it's a red sauce. It's a marinara. And in Eat Happy 1, I have the homemade marinara that I've been making since I was about, I don't know, 13 years old. And it is a very easy recipe, and it is tomatoes, canned tomatoes, tomato paste, basil, olive oil, garlic. Got it? And I've been making it so long, it's like, what is that phrase? I can't even think of the phrase. It's like second nature to me to make it. And in fact, it's so second nature that I'm gonna be manufacturing and selling it. And I was supposed to launch Eat Happy Kitchen Marinara at KetoCon, but it didn't happen that way, and that's okay. We'll do it next year. I will definitely be bringing that for everybody to try. And I will say, I'm very excited about this, but it was weird even for me to taste the samples of it, because I was like, I don't believe it. You can't eat marinara out of a jar. And it felt really strange. And then the first time I used it, I was like, oh, this is way easier. Why have I not been doing this for longer? So I'm very excited about that, but we're going to still do this from scratch because I want you guys to know and feel empowered by what's going in your food. I feel like I'm going to save this little, that would be a good garnish for a little cocktail. So I'm going to save that guy. I'm really into saving little butts of the food that you can use again at a later time. And get these onions off, these lemon seeds off of here. I am super into when you cut an onion, save the ends. When you cut the celery, save the ends. And I have them in the freezer, so whenever I make my bone broth, I'm ready to go with my vegetables. So, okay, we're gonna just go ahead and start the base of this sauce. This one is a little bit fancier version of marinara because it's a puttanesca. So it's going to have onions in it, and it's going to have black olives. I use Kalamata olives, Kalamata, as my Greek friends say. I think I put about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in there. And it's going to have capers and pepper flakes, and you can dial up the spice, dial down the spice. I'm going to use Muir Glen. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to say David Muir, who does the news. I can't. Okay, so my day job, I have a super cool day job. I'm a voiceover actor, and I happen to announce all the comedies and the reality shows on NBC. So if you ever turn on NBC and you hear an ad for The Voice or America's Got Talent, that is me telling you to watch America's Got Talent, you know, Tuesdays, 9, 8 Central on NBC. And I cannot pronounce Muir. Muir. Maybe it's Muir. Muir? Anyway. Always check labels when you're buying canned tomatoes at the store. This is the other thing. There are a few options of canned tomato sauces, fully made sauces that don't have sugar added, but most of them add sugar, and that drives me crazy. I don't like that. Oh God, you're kidding me, right? There's a fly. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Anyway, check your labels. This one has organic tomatoes, organic tomato juice, sea salt. That's good if you're trying to do an iodine-free diet for you thyroid folks out there. I see you. I see you. Citric acid and calcium chloride. Don't be afraid of those. Those are like citric acid is vitamin C, and calcium chloride is a naturally occurring preservative. It's basically to keep the tomatoes shelf stable. So we're using that. I call for 2 14-ounce cans. This is a 28-ounce can. We're going to do about 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. We're going to put that in there. But let's get started heating this pan up. And you guys, I think I've maybe used this stove twice. So let's see what happens. I think it's going to be much more powerful than my stove at home. And we don't know how it's going to turn out. It could go up in flames. We don't know. Oh, I put the NutriBullet out here. I missed my Vitamix. I haven't brought it to this new house yet. But if you want a really smooth sauce, puree your tomatoes and your tomato paste first. So I put that out there for that, but I'd like a chunky sauce, so I'm not going to do it. Plus it's loud. I like a NutriBullet for a smoothie, but I like my Vitamix for preparing food. And yes, I've become that person who has 2 kinds of blenders. So I'm that a-hole. Ooh, this is getting hot. This is nice. Now, we want to start always by softening the onions. That's why a lot of recipes you'll see with olive oil. I have chopped that's about half of a medium onion. Oh, people ask me about onions, what kind of onions to use. And what I love I'm gonna have to keep doing that tilty thing. That's okay. And I did I would usually use a big saucepan or a Le Creuset, but instead I'm using this like flat bottomed, high edged saute pan. I prefer a yellow onion. It's called a yellow onion or a brown onion, or a sweet onion, a Maui onion. A Vidalia is ideal, but those are only in season at the end of summer. And I think I've seen them in California some, but I used to live in Georgia, which is where Vidalia is, where they grow the onions, and they're wonderful. I prefer a sweeter onion. I feel like I like the flavor better, but if you like white onions or red onions, please have at it. If you don't have an onion on hand, but you happen to have a shallot, great, use a shallot. If you happen to only have leeks, use a leek. It's all good. You can mix this stuff up. I really encourage people to use substitutions. Don't be afraid of stuff. If you write to me, you say, hey, Ann, I loved that salmon puttanesca recipe, and I decided to add mushrooms to it or peas or something. I don't care. I think that's great. And if you loved it and it turned out great, I want you to experiment. I feel like half of cooking is trying to use up stuff that's about to go bad in your fridge anyway. And so put it in there, But if you want to follow the recipe exactly until you figure out what it's supposed to taste like, or until you get better at experimenting in the kitchen, that's great. A lot of folks who come to me are brand new in the kitchen. And so I want to, like I mentioned earlier, be as clear as possible with my direction. Okay, I'm going to go ahead. I have about, let's see, I want to do about, where's my little, okay, I have about a teaspoon of oregano. Hold on, about a teaspoon of fresh oregano leaves. And I'm going to go ahead and chop up those. I just stepped on something. Onion, get in there. And herbs are perfect for doing that rocking technique with your knife. And I'll probably chop a few more for garnish at the end of the meal. Oh my gosh, fresh oregano is like, ooh, I love it. Let's see. Here's how I like to cut basil leaves. I like to stack them. Let's see, I do about 7 to 10 basil leaves. Those onions are getting soft. I can start to smell them. I like to stack the basil leaves. See, I've stacked them, and then you kind of roll them up. And you cut them, it's called a chiffonade. You cut them into like a thin ribbon. Being careful not to cut your own fingers. And then you can do the rocking thing, and it gets it into like tiny little bits. There we go. Now I've got oregano and basil nicely chopped up. Let's just do a few more passes at this while that onion cooks. Look, Ma, no hands, literally, because I just chopped them off. Okay. Ooh, it smells so fresh. Fresh basil and fresh oregano send me to another place. It's so good. Okay, these things are starting to soften. This stove is strong, and I can tell because these are starting to get charred without softening, and I'm not caramelizing these things, so I want to turn it down. It's quite a flame on the Jen Air. Way to go, honey. Let's see. I usually put minced garlic in here, but again, at my new grocery store in my new town that I live in, they were out of minced garlic. So I'm going to use garlic powder. Why not? Put it in. I'd say about a half a teaspoon. You could do more garlic. I'm out of garlic cloves too. You could throw in, you could slice garlic cloves if you feel like really getting into it. That would be delicious. And we're gonna put, let's see, salt and pepper on these onions. Really get our aromatics going here. By the way, pro tip, because I don't have a pepper grinder up here either, what I've been doing is you buy like the cheaper grinder and then you fill it with like the organic peppercorns. I mean, I used it up and then you refill it. I'm not like, I'm throwing this out. I never throw out food. Okay, so we've got the, I want to show this to you guys. It's getting nice and soft. It's all falling. So we'll just keep doing that. And now, oh wait, I forgot to chop my olives. I'm gonna chop my olives. Move this out of the way because you don't want to put the greens in right away and let them sit because then they might get bitter, like me. By the way, I wore a dress, so I haven't worn a dress at all in quarantine. And in California, we are still very much in quarantine. I'm giving this a loose chop. You can buy pre-chopped Kalamata olives. You can buy those cans of black olives. I do not care. I love the saltiness and the brine on a Kalamata olive. And let's show the Greeks some love, you know? Those guys know how to make an olive. Let's see, these are pretty good. Plus the olives look really pretty in the sauce. So let's throw in our olives. It'll start to sizzle. 2 tablespoons of capers. By the way, that was about 3/4 of a cup of olives chopped. We've got 2 tablespoons of capers, again, with that briny, salty, pickled, capery taste. It's gonna be delicious. I'm putting all my herbs in there. Yes, I said herbs, herb garlic. For those of you old enough to remember that in Cincinnati, herb garlic is very important to my childhood comedy development. Let's see, let's mix that up. Is that showing? Probably not, because it's all black in a black thing. We're gonna do about half a teaspoon of pepper flakes. I use my eye. They're slow to come out. If it's a little extra spicy, I am fine with that. If you don't like spice or you have kids who don't like spice, omit the pepper flakes. That is totally fine. And then lastly, I'm going to do about a half teaspoon of onion powder. I have shortcuts to flavors, especially when we add the tomatoes and the tomato paste. There's a little bit of salt in these, but really things are going to need to be salted. So some shortcuts to adding a flavor depth is onion powder and garlic powder. Let's say I literally bought this can opener for this food demo because I don't have my regular kitchen stuff up here. I can't wait to move into this house full time, you guys. Where is it? Here we go. We're going to do about 3 tablespoons. I'm a heaper. I like to heat my tablespoons, you guys. Right? Now, when you add tomatoes to anything, oh my God, are you kidding me? This is going to be a half hour just me trying to open a can. Let the comedy ensue. This is where I need an assistant. Oh my God. Here, let's mix this up. Let's get these guys. Oh, it's starting to smell so fragrant in here. See, right now it's pretty chunky because we have not put the actual tomatoes in, but that's okay. It's heated. Look what they sold at the grocery store. A spoon holder. Because I'm a lady and I'm not ruining this marble. I am not ruining it. All my friends said don't get marble. In the last kitchen I remodeled, I did marble and I trashed the marble. And so then this kitchen, I was like, I'm going to do marble again. And I did. And so, and I'm going to trash it. That's just part of it. But I love marble. I guess it's the Italian girl in me. Yeah, it's going to take me 5 years to open this thing. For this. Hold on. Oh, I think I found a technique. I think you have to put down on it. You guys, I'm very, very handy. I did it. I did it. Okay. Now, when you pour the tomato, you don't want it to splatter, especially all over your pretty dress that you haven't worn in 2 months because you've been in quarantine. Great. Love it. We'll recycle that later. Now, this is going to provide the liquid. Oh, I should check on that salmon, shouldn't I? Oh, now that is your basic puttanesca sauce. We're going to season it more with salt and pepper. But you guys, this is basically done. I would let it simmer 15 to 20 minutes. We don't, in the interest of time, want to do that on a food demo, but I'll... Let me just bring it right on up to the camera. Yeah, that's a puttanesca sauce. There's your basic, that's a basic puttanesca sauce. Let's check on our friendly salmon fillets. Ooh, yeah, I bet they're about done. Oh God, I forgot you have to kind of burp this oven or else just like hot, just like goes right in your face. Let's see, there are these guys. I need a fork. I don't know where anything is in my kitchen. And I use a fork to kind of, oh yeah, it's done. That's done. Now I'm gonna check on my asparagus. Oh, there's my plate for plating. And hi, I'm using my voiceover mic. There you go. I'm gonna leave that asparagus, the asparagus in for a few more minutes. We'll plate this. Oh, I didn't season this once more with salt and pepper. Let's do that. It's starting to boil, which means the sauce will reduce if you let it boil. My husband likes pepper, so I always do a little extra. That's it. You know, I figure that's a nice thing I can do after 21 years of marriage, season the food the way he likes it. Go the extra mile, ladies. That's what I like to do. Ooh, this looks really good. I actually I'm gonna turn that down. This is a very strong burner. This is like double the strength of what my old oven was. I'm gonna do one of this. You get a fresh spoon. That is almost perfect. It's like tart and salty and briny. I'm just gonna add a little more salt. Shout out to Redmond. We love those guys. And this is the kind of sauce too, because a lot of people ask me if you can freeze stuff. Yes, you can. You could make this well in advance and freeze it, and the flavors would marry even more. Now, how would you, if you bought a jar of, I don't know, let's say Eat Happy marinara. I don't know, just thinking off the top of my head. If you bought a jar of marinara and you were gonna adapt this sauce, what I would tell you to do would be to use the jar of sauce. Go ahead and saute the onions, put in the onion powder, the pepper flakes, and olives and capers, garlic or garlic powder as I used in this case, and then put the whole jar of marinara in there, and it should just set up perfectly, and it will take even less time, especially if you have problems with your can opener like I did. Okay, this guy is really cooking up nicely. It's gonna start to bubble. Oh yeah. Here's how I like to serve it. If you have one of these, here's the thing, you have all these dishes from back in your carb eating days. This is a pasta dish. Remember these? They're like kind of a bowl, but kind of a plate. This is why you serve it with this stuff. Zucchini noodles, of course, you can do that. But this is such a pretty presentation. And this serves about, well, I've made enough here, I think, at least for 4 people. So we've got our little pasta sauce. And actually, these fillets are quite huge. Tongs! Right here, you guys. Tongs. Here, let's do this one. Oh, it broke. Oh, it's all right. And then we just tuck it in like that. Ooh, I'm turning this off. And then we have our little salmon puttanesca. Now, I personally would not put Parmesan on this, and not because I don't do dairy, because I'll always tell you guys when you should add dairy to stuff. Trust me, I got all kinds of love for dairy. I just can't tolerate it. I just am not, I'm usually a fan of Parmesan going on the puttanesca sauce, but I'm not a fan of Parmesan with the salmon puttanesca. If you're doing a different, let's say you're gonna do chicken, you're gonna do steak, for sure throw that Parmesan on there. Now let's just see how beautiful our little asparagus turned out. Oh, that's perfect. Now to make this, let's see, can we see that there? They're like bright green and tender. Oh, I love it. I think asparagus are so pretty, and I love pretty food. We want to, also too, you can serve the asparagus with these little roasted lemon things, and it just kind of makes it look really pretty. I like to put it along the side here. Or you can chop the cooked asparagus into bite-sized pieces and kind of sprinkle it over. But I just think that that looks so pretty. And then you have a full little meal there, and everybody's happy, eat happy. And gosh, this is where I wish that I had the overhead camera, and then we'd like do the ooh, ah. But I would love it if you guys made this. Let me know how you liked it. I am on the Twitter and the Instagram. By the way, Instagram is my favorite of the socials because it's pictures, and I love pictures. I have a Facebook group, the Eat Happy Facebook group. Definitely check out my website. I have a ton of free recipes there. Plus, there are over 320 recipes between the 2 cookbooks. And grab yourselves an Eat Happy 2 off of the Amazon. I think it's the cheapest it ever has been right now. Oh, hey, time to turn off that oven. When you're done using the oven, turn it off. Mine sings to me. It's a little bit weird, not used to it. But again, my name is Anna Vocino. I'm the author of Eat Happy and Eat Happy 2. Thanks for joining me today, and go make some foods and eat it.